So when you make that up, you are ready to play. All the game
Mm.
master has to do is to have a situation where one or more of your values are involved, and you know where this character is coming from.
Mm.
And this is this process, that transition into an aggressive or assertive, a kind of driven non-verbal mode. The player doesn't sit there and say, now how can I deal with this situation, which is kind of how I feel we are doing about the curse and finding the killer. We're going, how can we deal with this situation, when one of us should already have said, get out of the way.
Mm.
Get out of the way, to your characters or to the other player characters, and said, I'm doing this. And I'm using this
Mm.
aspect and this aspect and this aspect. And you are still busy going, wait, I'm looking at my tables. And the player says, hurry up.
Mm.
Right? Does that make sense?
I
Yeah.
do. Yeah, it does absolutely make sense, and I think that is I have had this problem since start, or more or less,
Mm-hmm.
in different, and what I I think to some degree it comes from both parties, like the
I
game
agree.
master and
Yeah.
the player, knowing that there is something in between.
Mm-hmm.
We're like almost like, do we wait for the game master, or do we do
Exactly.
what we
Yeah.
want? And it's not clear. It's not like and that I try to solve that by doing some more prepping, but not too much.
Right.
And I think I kind of created a really a situation, a start, so and so on. And I can see that all my story deck, they are a bit, some are really easy to play,
Right.
because the premise is really, it's like it's always stated what you are doing, the kind of genre and things like that are kind of helping you to
All of that is very true, and I think it was very easy for us to come up with really fun and rather surprising characters in some way. I particularly point
Max.
toward Max.
Uh,
Max had a very fun moment when he took two looks at, hungry grave robber, and he was like, oh boy, oh boy, I
yeah.
can do this. And so from that moment of excitement about the pieces coming together, from that moment of excitement right there, to that different kind of excitement, which is a fictional drive, you know what the character
Mm,
is about to do, that is
mm,
the part that is foggy right
yeah.
now. So I am also thinking about
And
the.
I can see that it becomes, I think, if, for example, you and I played just you and I think you would have like filled in those gaps, because you could see, you can compensate as a player because you have a lot of routine. But with and that's not actually not a good thing, because then you are like
Right,
playing,
right. We are
not
we are
playing the actual game.
importing we are importing other habits in, and
Yeah,
importing
that's
compensating
the problem
mechanisms.
with
Right.
playing,
So right.
like playtesting with a lot of friends that know
Exactly right.
you.
Everybody
They
is
kind of fill
compensating.
in.
Right.
Yeah.
So that is true, but let's take a look at some of our other experiences together. We've actually had some very valuable play experiences. Primetime Adventures solves this in an interesting way by having the scene creation have this quick back and forth.
Mm,
You say your character and which other characters
yeah.
and where. I say what this looks like from the game master's perspective.
Mm,
You also say kind of what it looks like they're doing. You are not announcing anything for the scene as a conflict or anything, but you are at least just telling us what they're doing. I'm buying a chicken.
mm,
I am, looking for this kind of clue. I am trying to hide something, whatever. But you are just describing what we see them beginning to do. Okay, so then you have said that.
yeah.
I give a bigger picture, more context for the situation, and other player characters can add themselves as well. So
Yeah.
there's this, the scene may look very different from what it looked like in your mind when you first said it, because your job is only the location and only what your character is doing in it. And so
I can see now when I
Right.
look at my game mechanics map that I have here.
yeah,
I think in an early iteration of this, I had some kind of mechanics around scene creation, but that has been, I think it's not been taken away because it's bad or something, but something that I've kind of pushed forward to say
Right.
that I will solve this when all the other things are solved.
right.
But now
right.
they're in
And
place.
but what I'm focusing on for the Primetime
Mm.
Adventures method is
Mm.
not really the precise steps, but I am focusing instead on the fact that it goes back and forth. You get to say this much, I get to say that much. Here are the things you must provide, and I cannot provide them. Here are the things which I must provide, and you cannot provide them. Now we will look at what is going on, and now we will play. And
Yeah.
there is, let's say that the character is trying to hide something, and then with everything else happening, it suddenly is the case that one of the other player characters is there.
Yeah.
Because the player says so. You say, I am in the the storeroom of the ship, and I am trying to hide this this dead animal, right, in the
Yeah.
freezer. I'm trying to hide it. That's where I'm at. I'm in the storeroom, I'm in the freezer area, I'm trying to hide this dead animal. And then the game master says, well, I imagine, he doesn't add much. The game master just says, oh, this is what I think the freezers look like, and just describes things a little bit more. And the game
Yeah.
master at this point is not really all that interested in making trouble. The game master is interested in what will happen and just describes the freezers. Okay?
Yeah.
So far, so good. Then another player says, and I'm there. And the first
Yeah.
player may look at them and think, well, shit, there goes my whole scene about hiding this dead animal.
Yeah.
If you're there. And so, but that's okay. The other player has chosen to be involved. So now we have to play. The first player has to decide whether they're going to care about hiding the dead animal or not.
Yeah.
Maybe they will continue to try to hide it but fool the other player character. Maybe they will say, oh, help me do this. Or
Yeah.
maybe they will just, put the dead animal like underneath the counter with their foot. And then they have a completely different set of interactions because they have some other terrible problem.
Mm.
You don't know. But the point is that with the back and forth of creating the situation, nobody at the table was ready for exactly how it was going to
No.
finish. And
Yeah.
there's a very, sometimes you want that in a role-playing game. Other times you don't want it at all and say, no, situations happen like this because I say so, that is it. And there are some games that are better that way.
Yeah.
These games seem to be better when the player's drive seems to be one of the starting points.
Yeah. Yeah.
Otherwise, we will
think-
just do fun but not very forward activities like making breakfast. It was
Oh.
fun, but it wasn't moving forward in any way.
It was flavor, but not like
Right.
really
Right.
like.
And I
Yeah.
wouldn't want to miss the interesting breakfast that we made, but on the other hand, we also need the point where we know that that's just preliminary to the thing we are about to do, or that one of the players, is about to do.
Mm.
So
I
that's-
think I have to end because I'm going into another
Okay.
meeting. But
Yeah.
what I'm taking with me now is a kind of basically the agency, then the overall agency of players versus game master when it comes to like story elements in this. And I think being more, adding some clarity where
Yeah.
where
However
it's,
it is done, everybody needs to know what that is.
yeah.
However it is done. There are lots of ways, and it might even still be primarily the game master. It depends. But whatever it is, the ability of the player to know what they want to do
Mm.
is, even without thinking about it, without sitting there and wondering what to do,
Mm.
it's very straightforward, I think.
I,
So
I have to tell you one of the changes that I made,
mhm.
because we actually, there was a suggestion from one of the other players, and we tried it during that session, and it made a lot of sense. And it was the problem, partly addressed by Helma, that what can I do in
Right.
this situation?
Mhm.
So and so, and in that specific situation, where was more or less a kind of a chase and a battle, a mix of a chase. Someone was trying to get the hell out of there and fighting to get hell out there. So and most of the players just wanted to kick the hell out of them, but they were searching a lot for okay, yeah, but I don't have the words for kicking out,
Right.
kicking someone. So we basically agreed that you can always do what you are expected someone,
There are
anyone do.
default actions that you don't need aspects for. Right.
No, exactly, and that's basically what you use the blue dice for.
Right.
And the blue dice are
Well,
more or less a
yeah.
common. It's you have a kind of a set for one for each phase.
Right.
You have one set of blue dice for everyone. And
Right. That's
so
right. And that way you have those dice. You have the blue dice there and active.
yeah, and anyone can grab them. So it's and then if you want to do something really special, then you use the aspect,
Yes.
and
Yes.
you add all those
Yeah.
like established
Well,
tracks.
that's good,
And
because
then you
that
get
way
to
we are
add
not
that.
trapped by our aspects at all times.
No,
Right.
then you can choose
Right.
when to do that. It's more
Right.
almost like a trust roll.
Yeah. Yeah.
So and then you get mechanics where you add the results. You can get higher values, and that becomes more.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
feels
There's
more
more to
powerful.
you feel good. Yeah. I like
My
that.
hope is that
Yeah.
will create a more flow in the
Yeah.
experience.
Excellent.
Yeah, but that's one. So it's just minor changes, but using the same mechanics, but in a
Oh.
different way.
Yeah, I
But I
actually
will
don't
add
think
to
of these
that,
as
like,
minor. These are actually serious pieces of structural design
Yeah.
that are more important than, the things we often concentrate on. So,
Yeah.
well, anyway, thank you very much. That was
Yes.
fun, and I will talk to you later.
Yeah. Bye.